What is happening, all my brothers out there, and according to my YouTube analytics, maybe like 2 or 3 ladies, you know? We are back with the Duskmourn absolute bangers, commander slappers, hidden gems, and hot cardboard. You know what, man, it's Sunday afternoon. I wanted to do a set review right here, but listen, I can't get into every single card, every mechanic, and every little story nuance, alright? We're keeping it to the commander relevant cards and future staples, the real impactful stuff, because, you know, we gotta get to the nitty gritty on this channel. We only digress if it's absolutely necessary. And if you enjoy this channel, like, subscribe, send me your goodwill through the ether, dude, through the ethernet cables, as it were. And as always, many thanks to the kind, handsome patrons out there. Just got a new one today, Bob M. Welcome to the channel, brother. Let me start off by saying, look, I like horror, alright? I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so this is kind of in my wheelhouse. Stephen King, Poltergeist, all that fun stuff. I understand if people don't dig that aesthetic, but we're here for commander bangers, man. I don't care if it's Universes Beyond, Secret Lair, or cards I'm pulling out of my toilet tank. You know, I want impactful cards to build my decks. I want them cheap if possible, too. So even if you don't dig the theme here, you may find some useful cards for your commander decks. Now the first thing I want to focus on here, and something I haven't seen mentioned in some of the other videos I've seen, is the Verges. Check this out, we got Blazemire Verge out there. It's a land, has tap add black, tap add red, activate only if you control a swamp or a mountain. So these can't be searched up with 3 visits and things like that. They have no basic land types, but these are duals that come in untapped. If you're running basics, and I do run a lot of basics being a budget conscious fella, either one in a 2-color deck will activate that second conditional ability. It's just gas in a 2-color deck, man. Once you get into more colors, your mileage may vary on this, but usually you get a concentration in 1 color out of the 3 if you're running a 3-color deck. Anyways, man, I would be very happy to run these. They're the MVP of this set, I think, and I'd be happy to see the other half in a subsequent set, because there's only 5 here. Oh, but wait a second, hold on, dude, we have another cycle here, the Enduring Bros. These are all animals, just like my subscriber base. First one is Enduring Courage, so this is 2 red, enchantment creature, dog glimmer, it's a 3/3. Whenever another creature you control enters, it gets +2/+0, gains haste until end of turn. So when this guy dies, if it was a creature, returned to the battlefield under its owner's control, it's an enchantment. Alright, it's not a creature. This is awesome. I still run Ogre Battle Driver, and this is a serious upgrade as it has this mechanic that all the Enduring Bros have when they come back as an enchantment if they die. I love this. Won't be super pricey, I think, but it's a great haste enabler. Enduring Curiosity. Take a look at this guy. So this is a 4/3 with flash. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Again, you're double dipping the reconnaissance mission with a 4/3 body and flash. Pretty sweet, man. Look at this damn sheep out there. It's the Innocence, 1 white, enchantment creature, sheep glimmer. It's a 2/1 with lifelink. Whenever 1 or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So this thing has the same thing where if it dies, it comes back as an enchantment. Comparable to Welcoming Vampire, this is another instance of a white weenie card draw. It's not bad. Then we have Enduring Tenacity, so this is 4 mana, enchantment creature, snake glimmer. It's a 4/3. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. This is another Sanguine Bond, which means it's a combo piece with Exquisite Blood. Fantastic value piece in a life gain deck as well. Not a bad card. And last up in this little cycle is Enduring Vitality. So this is 1 green, enchantment creature, Elk Glimmer. It's a 3/3. Hello, Oko. He's back, dude. Vigilance, creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. So this is mana dork time, baby. This is pretty cheap for what it does, but it's kind of a common effect in green. I dig it. Now wait a second, don't go anywhere yet, dude. We have another cycle, the Overlords. I'm kind of an overlord myself, you know, I'm like an amateur overlord, but my kingdom is better commander, brother. First up in this cycle we have Baelmerk. So this guy's a 5/5 for 5. He has impending 5 for 1 and a black. If you cast a spell for its impending cost, it enters with 5 time counters on it. Isn't a creature until the last is removed, so it's an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, remove a time counter from it. When this guy enters or attacks, mill 4 cards, then you may return a non-avatar creature card or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. This is interesting, you know, but I might be a little sad if I pull this as my mythic. And this old boiler bilge is out here, so this is 6 mana for a 5/5, has impending 4 for 2 red. When this guy enters or attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target. This is sweet. Reminds me of Inferno Titan a little bit. More damage, less versatility. And then we have Flood Pits out there. This is 5 for a 5/3 with flying. Pretty nice looting ability. Great in decks that want you to feed the graveyard. Hauntwoods, check out this guy out there. Hauntwoods, I'm sorry. Spicy fella giving us a peek at the goods in there, in his dressing gown there, brother. 6/5 for 5 and a damn rampant fool out there, man. It should be noted that if you impend these, they are enchantments with counters on them. So if you have some effect that removes counters, you know, you can manipulate that, get them to creature form pretty early. And then next up we have Overlord of the Mistmoors. So this guy is a 6/6, has impending 4 for 2 white. Whenever this guy enters or attacks, create 2/2/1 white insect creature tokens with flying. I don't know, man. This is okay. I like it in a token blink deck, you know, something that's utilizing lots of bodies for combos or whatever. But there are also cheaper alternatives if that's what you're looking for. Hey, look at this fella, the Hauntwood Shrieker. So this guy's 1 green, creature beast mutant. It's a 3/3. When this guy attacks, manifest dread. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature, the other into your graveyard. Turn it face up anytime for its mana cost if it's a creature card. Has 1 and a green, reveal target face down permanent. If it's a creature card, you may turn it face up. This is parasitic, unless you're in that Kadena morph deck, man. That last ability can be activated at any time, which is gas if you want to turn over your morph creatures or manifest or whatever the heck face down creature you have out there. It's just a damn eyeball out there, man. You know what? I have a tattoo on my stomach. It's a flaming winged eyeball. You believe that? Aberrant Oculus, so the Abhorrent Oculus, I'm sorry. So this is 2 and a blue for a creature. It's a 5/5. Aberrant and abhorrent, they're 2 different words, brother. As an additional cost to cast this spell, exile 6 cards from your graveyard. Has flying. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, manifest dread. You know, this is 3 manifest dreads in a turn cycle. You need to be heavy in self-mill or a reanimator deck, you know, but it's a decent reanimator target as well. 5/5 with flying. I love stuff like this, man. It's not bad. That ability, too, it's real nice, man. It's niche, but it's fun. Not so much with this card, the Meathook Massacre Volume 2. XX black for a legendary enchantment. When this thing enters, each player sacrifices X creatures. Whenever a creature you control dies, you may pay 3 life. If you do, return that card under your control with a finality counter on it. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, they may pay 3 life. If they don't, you get it back under your control with a finality counter on it. That last ability is backbreaking if you piggyback a board wipe later in the game, or if you pump a buttload of mana into XX, man. This is a wild card, pretty bonkers for just 4 mana. Amazing. Hey, Niko's back out there, man. The great Greek Niko, the Light of Hope. 2 white and a blue for a legendary creature, human wizard. It's a 3/4. When this thing enters, create 2 shard tokens. They're just enchantments with 2, sacrifice it, scry 1, then draw a card. Has 2 in tap, exile target non-legendary creature you control. Shards you control become copies of it until end of the next end step. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. This art treatment's very emo, dude. I feel the angst of 1,000 teenagers emanating from this artwork, brother. But the sharder is back, dude. Listen, the sharder's sharding all over the place, alright? Now listen, this is a blink deck. Pack in the blink Niko, make more shards, blink your creatures, get ETB effects, pack in some attack triggers, combat damage effects. Probably pretty powerful commander if you build into blink and ETBs. We're sharding, baby. We're sharding all the way to the bank, dude. Oh man, just sharded all over the car seat. Now contrast that with this art, dude. Check this guy out, Tyvar the Pummeler. He's just out there emanating testosterone all over the place, dude. That's that green monster in there, man. That's that T-Rage, brother. 1 green, legendary creature, elf warrior. It's a 3/3. Tap another untapped creature you control. Tyvar gains indestructible until end of turn and tap it. Has 3 and a green. Creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. This is neat. He's a damn elf, dude, and they're one of the best creature types in the game. They're very weak by themselves, but they pack a mean punch. Reminds me of Azuri a little bit. It's got that win condition stapled right onto it. If you're making 20 mana with those little elves and they're slapping in, you know, you're going to get huge, brother. But it doesn't give evasion, unfortunately, like our boy Azuri. Oh well. Now this fella just got done hanging out with Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. It's Valgavoth, the Terror Eater. Looks like a big old moth, dude. 6 black, legendary creature, Elder Demon. It's a 9/9. Has flying and lifelink. Ward, sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. If a card you didn't control will be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. During your turn, you may play cards exiled with Valgavoth. You may cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than pay its mana cost. Oh my god, this guy's nuts, dude. In a Reanimator mill deck, this is massive card advantage. I love it. Probably going to be $1 billion, you know. You have to pay $1 billion and a side of corned beef hash, dude. Let's get into some of the rares here. We have Chainsaw. This is an equipment, comes in, removes a 3-power creature, slaps a little damage around. That ain't terrible. Not sure if I would run it anywhere, but it's not bad though. I just like that it's a damn chainsaw, so I wanted to mention it. Then you have Come Back Wrong. So this is 2 and a black sorcery, destroy target creature. If a creature card is put into a graveyard this way, return it to the battlefield under your control. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. I love this, man. It's a bit of sorcery speed removal, meaning you won't be able to attack with that creature on your turn. It will have its uses though, you know, especially if you have sack outlets, stuff like that. This card is interesting. Love this thing, man. Demonic Council, 1 and a black for a sorcery. Search your library for a demon card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Has Delirium. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, instead search your library for any card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Give me this card for Bellicor, please. Or if you have a key demon that feeds a combo or something in your deck, this is pretty rad. Delirium is kind of tough to activate though in some of these decks, man, unless you're specifically built around it. Now how's about this guy, the Doomsday Excruciator? So this is basically 6 black mana. They have to be black too. Creature demon, it's a 6/6 with flying. When this guy enters, if it was cast, alright, so you can't reanimate it and have this happen, each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down, and at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. So that's not too bad. If you reanimate him and it's like, hey, at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card, you have a 6/6 flyer, alright, you know, I can live with that. But oh my god, dude, I love this card. If you have a way to win with an empty library, this can speed you right there, or a way to mill your opponents at instant speed. It's not going to matter that long if you can just mill them out, dude, for Phoenix, you know, or something like that. You can speed to that win condition. 6 black is tough outside of mono, but there are ways to get there. That if it was cast, caveat, kind of sucks, but whatever, brother. People smarter than me are going to break this card, I'm sure. Alright, man, I admit the Ghostbuster aesthetic on this card is pretty corny, dude, but we have the Entity Tracker out there. 2 and a blue, creature, human scout, it's a 2/3 with flash. Whenever an enchantment enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, draw a card. So listen, just ignore the unlock a room part. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, draw a card. You know, it's Ghostbusters, dude. This is nice in a Bant Enchantress deck. Pretty fantastic. Oh, look at this guy, FOMO. This is what you get for not buying boxes left and right, dude. 1 and a red for an enchantment creature, Nightmare, it's a 2/3. Whenever this thing enters, discard a card, then draw a card. Also has Delirium. When it attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. This is kind of notable because it's so cheap. It's only 2 mana. You can get extra combats with Delirium. It enables that. It's nice in certain decks too. You know, you're discarding cards, which is kind of sweet, like Feldon. You know, get Feldon out there. Now this damn thing, dude, I don't care about anything else, but it says whenever 1 or more lands are put into your graveyard from your library, put them onto the battlefield tapped. So all your radiation decks out there, your Golgari self-milled decks, here we come, buddy. We're ramping out of control all day, every day. This thing's got some pretty damn weird looking art though. Oh, look at this cute little rescue ranger out there in the woods with Chippendale. This is Kona, 3 and a green, legendary creature, beast survivor. It's a 4/3. It has a survival. At the beginning of your second main phase, if this thing is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Creepy, you know, but this is pretty nuts, man. Just cheat out any old permanent out there. I love this in a Xenaghost deck. This is pretty nice. And of course, we have some ley lines coming at you. The ley line of mutation, 2 green enchantment. When this thing is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. For gosh sakes, I can't even say it. It's how good it is. You may pay Wooburg rather than pay the mana cost for spells that you cast. So this is a redundant effect to Fist of Suns, Joda. Crazy card, man. Love this card as a redundant effect in certain decks. We have Leyline of Resonance, so this is 2 red enchantment. If this thing is in your opening hand, you may begin with the game with it on the damn battlefield, brother. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single creature you control, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Lordy, look who's 40. This is nuts and kind of, you know, these feather decks, Blanca decks. It's pretty sweet. Fight decks, bite decks. You got me going down the hallway resonating. Oh my god, dude, check this guy out. Marvin the Murderous Mimic. So it's 2 generic mana, legendary artifact creature. He's a toy. He's a 2/2. You know, don't call my boy a toy. You know what I'm saying? He's a human being. No, he's not, dude. He's a toy. This guy has all activated abilities of creatures you control that don't have the same name as this creature. So listen, this is a creepy doll, man. He's crawling around. He's slicing up your ankles, slicing your toes off, dude. I like that this combos with Pilipala and Palladium Myrrh. It's kind of a neat, you know, little interaction, I guess. You dig those out. There's your commander deck. I don't know. But building colorless, you know, it's such a chore, man. It's not that fun. How's about the Razorkin Needlehead? So this is red for a creature human assassin. It's a 2/2. Has first strike during your turn. Whenever an opponent draws a card, this thing deals 1 damage to them. That's pretty nice, dude. I like this a lot, man. Especially Garson Starn Keller morph decks. This thing's going right in there. It can also be pretty brutal in a Nekazar wheel deck. That's all I wanted to say, you know. It's cheap too, 2 mana. Then you have Reluctant Role Model. So this is 1 and a white. Human Survivor. It's a 2/2. Survival. At the beginning of your second main phase, if this thing's tapped, put a flying, lifelink, or +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever this guy or another creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 target creature. That second ability is really kind of where it's at, dude. Look at the Ozolith. You know, people like effects like this because you're saving your counters for later. This is interesting. I would run it in a counters deck just because it's going to get big and it's going to be flying, you know, in a green and white counters deck or something. It's not bad at all. Oh man, I can't wait to build around this thing. The Mind Skinner. Blue, legendary enchantment creature, Nightmare. It's a 10/1. This thing can't be blocked. If a source you control deal damage to an opponent, prevent that damage, and each opponent mills that many cards. This is nuts. In a functional mill deck, you know, Captain Engathrode or something like that, even though it's not a horror, this can multiply the mill. And if your deck is built to take advantage of graveyards, this can be absolutely insane. 3 blue mana. Chef's kiss on this guy. Love it. Then we have the Waltz of Rage. So this is 3 red sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature till end of turn whenever a creature you control dies. Exile the top card of your library. You may play it until the end of your next turn. This kind of mitigates the downside on a board wipe like Chandra's Ignition. You know, you get to get some impulse draw till the end of your next turn, but it doesn't hit opponents, you know. Nice for a dedicated burn commander, Soulfilm, Toralf, all those red guys. And this guy Victor, he's the Victor over here. He's Valgavoth's Seneschal, I guess. I don't know. How do you say that? You tell me in the comments, brother. 1 white and a black, legendary creature, human warlock. It's a 3/3. Whenever an enchantment you control enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, surveil 2. If this is the first time this ability is resolved this turn, if it's the second time, each opponent discards a card. And if it's the third time, put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Look at this bearded weirdo out there. Looks a little like Ringo Starr. He's got a pretty decent ability. This is neat. You know, it's Mill, it's Enchantress, it's Reanimator. Dude's going for the Monarch cosplay out there. Now I look through the uncommons and the commons. For the most part, these are draft chaff. There's not anything that's going to make it into a lot of commander decks, as far as I could see. Now listen, I could be wrong. You know, if you guys see something on there that I missed, by all means let me know in the comments below, brother. But lastly here, in the proud tradition of white as a color, we have a 1 mana removal spell with a downside. This is comparable to Swords to Plow, Path to Exile, but destroys instead of exiles. And the downside can be, you know, pretty meaningful. If they pop some creature manifest, well, that ain't bad for them, you know. You still have to pay to turn it over though, which can be bad for them. I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag. You know, overall though, 1 mana for this, it's a worthy addition to White's fantastic suite of targeted removal. This nice little card called Unwanted Remake. And that's it, man. I didn't see too much in the commons uncommons that snapped my attention. As I said, there is a suite of duels that enter untapped if a player has 13 or less life, but this is not going to be very good, you know, for most of the game. You know, they're kind of dookie poopy, but you know, for extreme budget players, I'm glad that they exist. And I feel the same way about you, brother. I'm glad you're alive, dude. Keep doing stuff. You know, don't stop for any reason whatsoever. Thanks for all the support of my kind patrons, dude. You guys make the world go round. Nikki G, Better Commander, signing off.